Hey everybody, it's Kellen Nitro for Nitromaniac TV's wrestling channel. Hi, it's Kellen from Canada, and this is my take, Nitro's take, on New Japan Pro Wrestling's new beginning in Osaka, which took place on February 11th, 2019, from the Osaka Prefectural Gym in Osaka, Japan, on New Japan World. That's how I watched it. Don Callis and Kevin Kelly were your commentators for the night of New Japan action. Kojima, Hiroshi Tenzan, and Jushin Thunder Liger open things up against the Suzuki-gun trio of Minoru Suzuki, Taka Michinoku, and Takahashi Iisuka. And of course, coming up on February 21st will be Iisuka's last match in New Japan, his retirement match, if you will, going forward. Sounds like that. This is the end of the line for his wrestling career. And of course, they showed in the opening of the program the history between Tenzan and Iisuka. And that storyline was pretty much brought forward in this match. So I have a feeling that we have a main event for that February 21st, February 22nd card in Japan for Iisuka's retirement match, which I believe is also going to be on New Japan World as well, where we'll have Iisuka and Tenzan in some form going head-to-head with each other. Probably one-on-one, I'm thinking. Of course, I haven't seen any announcements as of recording this on Wednesday, February 13th. But at this time, it might be, it actually should be a real fun card to check out for sure. I didn't think Iisuka was that old, honestly. But he had been around for a while. I guess he did some stuff when Suzuki-gun was banished to Noah as well. So I'll have to go back and take a look at it. Still kind of, I don't want to say newish to all the New Japan stuff, but obviously it wasn't readily available for a long time here until the advent of New Japan World. So time to get caught up on a lot of it. But Ten Koji and Liger's team, the trio, got the win via a DQ. And that, again, was all the match was for, was to set up this whole big thing happening at the end of the month for Iisuka's retirement. Non-title tag match up next, where you had the Young Lion team of Yoshida and Umino taking on Evil and Sonata, the tag team champions from Los Ingobernables. And this was pretty much a dominating performance, save for the fact that they really played off of the storyline of Sonata not being all there in the match against Evil. It was a real entertaining, real quick-paced match. Umino and Yoshida really, I think they have a future together as a tag team. I think given the same approach as like a Roppongi Free K or something, where they bring in a manager going forward. Of course, they still got to do their excursion to other places and that stuff before coming back to New Japan. But I think New Japan's got a couple of really decent talents there. It'll be interesting to see now, too, with the advent of like AEW going forward and other promotions, whether those wrestlers stick with the Young Lions system in New Japan, or if they decide, hey, our opportunities are elsewhere, and so we'll go elsewhere. Really interesting times here for sure. Of course, Evil and Sonata ended up winning the match. It seems like every team in New Japan uses a Magic Killer as a finisher now. I wonder if that's a nod to Gallows and Anderson and their influence that they have, or maybe it's just a ploy to get them back into New Japan when their contract's up. I have no idea. But hey, great match, really entertaining. You'd think it'd be a squash. It wasn't. It was actually a decent back and forth match. Six-man tag, again, Los Ingobernables in action. Bushi, Takagi, and Naito. Bushi and Takagi, of course, are the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, taking on the Suzuki-gun and trio. So the rivalry with LIJ and Suzuki-gun continues. The finish, of course, Naito hitting the Destino on Kanemaru to win in just over 11 minutes or so. Nothing overly special in this one. Again, Naito gets separated from the rest of the LIJ and gets beat on for a majority of the match and then fires up, does a comeback. It's a formula that seems to be working for New Japan in his matches. He's a strong Intercontinental Champion right now, even though the disdain for the belt is kind of starting to creep back in. The big angle happened post-match when Roppongi Free K came out and attacked Bushi and Shingo Takagi. So, Chaos getting involved now in the action for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title. Of course, they're building towards the big card at MSG coming up here, the G1 ROH Super Card of Honor. That will be Mania weekend that I'm looking forward to checking out live in person. That will be great. So is that a match saved for that? Is that a match going forward? Will we see that on the Glory by Honor card, etc., etc.? Hey, wheels in motion. Let's see what happens. Bullet Club in action for the first time tonight as Chase Owens and Yujiro Takahashi takes on Hanma and Yoshihashi in a tag team encounter. Finish was Chase Owens winning with a package pile driver on Hanma at 9:38. So this match itself, the commentary throughout the match pretty much, again, establishing the storyline that Bullet Club is trying to reestablish itself, and that it's a new Bullet Club, especially now with Jado and Geto in kind of managerial roles within Bullet Club, and with Jay White as the new leader of Bullet Club, and that it seems now that it's gone closer back to its 2013 roots as the Gaijin Sports Entertainment-esque heel faction trying to corrupt Strong Style in Japan. Then it was more the face elite thing that it was for the past couple of years or so. Remains to be seen. Still not enough time for me has passed yet at this point, but they are well on their way too. It's and as we're going to talk about later, it's going to be a big night for Jay White and the Bullet Club here going forward. Right after that, the big news of the night and the card, and something I want to hit on quickly, is Kota Ibushi signing a 2-year deal with New Japan and announcing his return to wrestling action at the New Japan Cup. Now, of course, he was hurt during Wrestle Kingdom with the match with Will Ospreay for the Never Openweight title. If you haven't seen that match, it's hard hitting, and the spot where Ibushi gets hurt is really bad. But it's a good thing for New Japan to have Ibushi in. I think, obviously, this is a guy that you can put anywhere on the card. You can put him in the main event to challenge Jay White now for the IWGP Heavyweight title and build a program around that. You can put him in the Intercontinental title mess. You can put him, it would be a natural to put him in the Never Openweight chase with Will Ospreay going forward. This guy seems like the ultimate utility talent, young enough to really make an impact. I think 2019, 2020, 2021 can really be Ibushi's time to shine in New Japan, and I think this is the perfect fit for him. I think it's even a better fit for him to be in New Japan than it would be for AEW, even though he'd be with his friends in All Elite Wrestling over here in North America. I think the Japanese crowd allows him to be more natural, etc. And I can't wait to see more of Ibushi in New Japan, which we will see. The next match was kind of advertised from the beginning of the card as a number 1 contendership match for the IWGP Tag Team Championship. At least that's what Kevin and Don were telling us throughout the program. Yeah, the Guerrillas of Destiny representing Bullet Club taking on Makabe and Toru Yano. Again, winner would get the title match against Evil and Sonata at the Honor Rising card coming up here in a few short weeks when Ring of Honor brings their talent over to Japan for a tour. This match itself started out really hot with the Guerrillas jumping Makabe and Yano during the entrance, and then it just was fairly bland throughout. I think the big thing was revealed earlier on in this tour that the good guy Tama Tonga character is no more. It's back to the bad guy Tama Tonga, where he acts good during the match and then at a certain point he will snap, which is kind of cool. Tama Tonga used Jado's cane at ringside at 9:44 to get the win. It was there, served a purpose. We will see Guerrillas of Destiny versus Evil and Sonata at the Honor Rising shows for the IWGP Tag Team Championship, and that match itself probably strong enough to be in the semifinal or maybe a main event spot for that card. IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship match coming up next. Taji Ishimori, the champion, taking on Taguchi, the challenger. This match was very entertaining and, in my opinion, honestly, kind of a dark horse match of the night contender. Ishimori, man, dude is as awesome as Kushida was last year in 2018. 2019 is Ishimori's year in New Japan. This guy can get it done, bell to bell. Man, it's fun watching his matches for sure. He got the win with the Bloody Cross, his finisher, at 16:10. And this, again, was a sleeper match of the night in my opinion. Both guys were lit in this match. They were awesome. It was great. You know what? The big thing again happened post-match where Ishimori called Jushin Thunder Liger into the ring, and it looks like Liger will get another crack at the Junior Heavyweight Championship coming up here in the near future in New Japan. So wait and see about that. But an Ishimori Liger match, sign me up for that. That's going to be awesome. Special challenge match, Bad Luck Fale versus Kazuchika Okada, and Okada wins with 2 Rainmakers at 18:10. This was probably the closest to a sports entertainment-esque match you will see all night on this card. I think you could have took this card and put it on an NXT TakeOver or a WWE pay-per-view, and it would have fit in nicely. There's a contrast of styles to what we had been watching all night with the Japanese strong styles. So, it served its purpose. Okada wins with the redemption angle a little bit. This was kind of the rubber match with both guys coming in with free wins and free losses against each other. So if this was a Stanley Cup playoff match, Okada would go on to the next round, or maybe win the Stanley Cup, depending on what it was, because those are best of 7. So there we go. Solid match from the big man, little man perspective, which it was, David versus Goliath, etc., etc. We've seen a couple of those already this year. I'm tired of it already, though. It's kind of seeming to be a little bit of a trope of 2019, but ergo, there it was. And of course, the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, the champion going in was Hiroshi Tanahashi, the ace of New Japan, taking on Switchblade Jay White, and 30 minutes later, we have a new IWGP Heavyweight Champion, Jay White. They were going to put it on a foreigner, probably somebody from Bullet Club, going forward into the months of March and April with the Ring of Honor talent coming in, and then of course the big card in New York coming up at MSG. So, remains to be seen. I don't think they're hurting anything by having Jay White hold the IWGP belt right now. I think, if anything, with the departure of the Elite doing their own thing with AEW and, the seismic shift it's created, probably the biggest seismic shift since 2016 when AJ and Shinsuke and the Good Brothers, Gallows and Anderson, left. I think, that in itself is probably one of the biggest shifts in New Japan talent-wise in a long time. This 2019 jump of the Elite talent, the Elite Four of Omega, Young Bucks, and Cody to North America to start their own promotion. Yeah, they're not hurting anybody by putting Jay White in the driver's seat right now as the IWGP champion. You have a heel champion in a strong faction that you're trying to reestablish. Of course, you're putting a belt on its leader. So I think, if anything, I think the debate is over. I think, Morehouse, you were correct. Jay White is the leader of Bullet Club now at this point, whether we like it or not going forward. And I think a lot of people are banking on not right now. I'm willing to wait and see where this leads. I'm thinking this leads to MSG and possibly a title switch with either an Kazuchika Okada, or maybe back to Tanahashi, or maybe there's a third name that we haven't mentioned yet that might get a crack at it. Maybe a Naito, maybe a someone of, I don't want to say a lesser ilk or something. Maybe they give it up to Minoru Suzuki. Who knows? But I highly doubt that. Or a Ring of Honor talent. Maybe Jay Lethal finally gets a run with the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, which would be pretty cool for one of the most established juniors of the last, century, pretty much. So my grade out of 10 for the show is a 7 out of 10. I thought it was one of the more passable cards of New Japan I've seen in a while. but definitely wasn't one of the best. I thought it was a little bit disappointing, honestly, with, of course, no Roppongi Free K match, with the exception of their little run-in at the end of the six-man tag earlier, and a few other things. But, at this point, I think that New Japan is kind of rejigged itself and is marching towards New York in April with a set goal in mind, and that goal is to have Jay White as the hottest heel champion they can find, and have somebody anointed, whether it's an Okada, whether it's a Tanahashi, going forward as your number one contender for the IWGP Championship. Anyways, that's my take. I'm Kellen Nitro, later days, and goodbye from Canada, from Kellen from Canada, and we'll see you next time.